My name is Elena Brooks. I'm 30 years old, and the night my family tried to make me sign away my future, they thought I'd fold. They thought wrong. It started on a Sunday evening. Not dramatic, not loud, just one of those, come over, we need to talk kind of texts. You know the type. The kind that doesn't say much, but says everything. I hadn't been back to my parents' house in almost 3 years, not because I hated them, but because every time I went back, I left feeling smaller than when I arrived. Still, I went, because a small part of me, yeah, that stubborn little piece, kept hoping maybe this time would be different. It wasn't. The moment I walked in, I felt it. That energy. Too quiet, too arranged, too planned. The dining table was set like it was Thanksgiving, but it wasn't even close to a holiday. My mom had that tight smile she uses when she's pretending everything is fine. My dad didn't even stand up to greet me. And my younger brother, Jason, sitting there like he owned the room. That's when I knew, yeah, this wasn't a visit. This was a setup. "Sit down," my dad said, tapping the table like he was calling a meeting to order. Not, "Hey, how are you?" Not, "It's been a while." Just, "Sit." So I sat. And that's when he slid the paper across the table. No explanation, no warning, just paper. I didn't touch it. "What is this?" I asked. My mom finally spoke. Calm. Too calm. "It's just something we need you to sign." Just something. That phrase has destroyed more lives than people admit. I glanced down. Legal document, typed, clean, professional. And then I saw it. My name, my savings, my assets. Transferred. To Jason. I actually laughed, not because it was funny, but because my brain needed a second to catch up with how insane this was. "You're joking, right?" I said. No one laughed. Jason leaned back in his chair, smirking like he was watching a show. "It's not a big deal," he said. "You're doing well, I just need a little help." A little help. That little help was everything I had built over the last 8 years. Every late night, every skipped vacation, every time I said I can't afford it when I actually meant I'm trying to build something real. All of it, signed away, just like that. I looked at my dad. "You're serious?" He nodded like we were discussing the weather. "You owe this family." There it was, that sentence, the one they always use when they run out of real reasons. You owe us. And suddenly, everything made sense. This wasn't about helping Jason. This was about control. It always had been. "You remember who paid for your college?" my mom added. I almost smiled, because yeah, I remembered. I also remembered working 2 jobs while studying. I remembered the loans in my name. But funny how they only remember the parts that benefit them, right? Jason leaned forward, tapping the paper. "Just sign it, Elena. Don't make this a whole thing." "A whole thing? You mean like asking me to give up my entire financial future?" Yeah, crazy of me to react. I leaned back in my chair and looked at all 3 of them. And for the first time, I didn't feel hurt. I didn't feel angry. I felt clear. Like when fog lifts and suddenly you see the road exactly as it is. "You planned this," I said quietly. No one denied it. That told me everything. They didn't think they were wrong. They thought I'd agree. That's what hit me the hardest. Not the document, not the demand, the expectation. They really believed I would just give in, because I always had before. Small things, money here, help there, fixing problems that weren't mine. I had trained them, and now they expected the final upgrade. Everything. My dad's voice got colder. Sign it, or don't come back here again. There it was, the ultimatum. Family with terms and conditions. I stared at the paper for a long moment, and then I did something they didn't expect. I pushed it back. No. Silence. Not shocked silence, dangerous silence. My mom's face changed first. That soft, controlled expression, gone. You're being selfish, she snapped. Jason scoffed. Wow, after everything, this is how you act? Everything. That word again. Always vague, always convenient. My dad stood up slowly. You think you made it on your own? He asked. I met his eyes. Yes. That one word, that broke something in the room, because they needed me to believe I couldn't exist without them. That's how the system worked, and I had just stepped out of it. Jason slammed his hand on the table. Fine, don't sign it, but don't come crying when things go bad. I almost laughed again, because here's the thing. Things had already gone bad, just not for me. For the first time in my life, I saw them clearly, not as parents, not as family, but as people who were willing to take everything from me and call it love. So I stood up. No drama, no yelling, just calm. The kind of calm that scares people more than anger. You know what's funny? I said. They didn't answer. None of you asked how I've been. That hit, because it was true. Not one question, not 1 ounce of care. Just take. I grabbed my bag. My mom tried one last time. Elena, don't do this. You'll regret it. I paused at the door, looked back at them, and said the word I had never said before. I already regret staying this long. And then I walked out. No tears, no second thoughts, just done. But here's the part they didn't know, and the part that changes everything. That document? That wasn't the only paper I had seen that night, because earlier that week I had already discovered something they thought I'd never find, something that meant they weren't just asking me for money. They were already using my name without my permission. And what I did next? Yeah, that's where the story really begins. I didn't go home. I didn't cry, and I definitely didn't call them back. Instead, I went straight to my car, sat there for a minute, and finally let the truth hit me. This wasn't new. This was just the first time they said it out loud. Because 2 weeks before that dinner, something felt off. A random email, a bank alert, small things. But I work in finance. Small things? They're never small. So I checked, and that's when I found it. A loan application. In my name. Not started, not planned, already processed. $45,000. My hands were shaking when I saw the signatures, because they looked like mine, but they weren't. They were copied. That moment changes you, because betrayal from strangers hurts, but betrayal with your last name on it, that hits different. So yeah, by the time they slid that paper across the table asking for my assets, I already knew they had crossed the line. They just didn't know I knew. That's why I didn't argue, didn't scream, didn't expose anything yet. Because sometimes silence isn't weakness, it's strategy. The next morning, I made 3 calls. First, to my bank. Account frozen, fraud investigation opened. Second, to a lawyer. Not emotional, not dramatic, just facts. And the third call? That one mattered the most, because I didn't call my parents. I called Jason's business partner. Yeah, turns out my brother wasn't just struggling. He was drowning. Debt, bad deals, lies stacked on lies. And guess what? He had already told people that I was backing him financially. My name again, my money again, my life again. Just without me. So I sent one email. Simple, clean, no emotion. I am not financially involved in Jason's business. Any claims made in my name are unauthorized. Legal action is in progress. That email? It spread faster than gossip at a wedding. Within 48 hours, everything cracked. His partner backed out, investors started asking questions, and my parents? Oh, they called, non-stop. Voicemails, messages, panic. Not, "Are you okay?" Not, "We're sorry." Just, "Fix this." That word again. Fix. Because that's what they had always been to me. The fixer, the safety net, the quiet one who cleans up their mess. But this time? Nah. This time, I let it burn. 3 days later, my dad showed up at my apartment. First time ever. No control, no authority, just desperation. "Elena, you're ruining this family," he said. I looked at him, really looked at him, and for the first time in my life, I didn't feel small. I didn't feel like a daughter trying to earn approval. I felt like someone who finally saw the truth. "No," I said calmly, "I'm just not saving it anymore." He didn't have a response for that, because what do you say when the person you relied on to carry everything finally puts it down? Jason lost the deal. The loan got flagged as fraud. And yeah, there were consequences. Real ones, legal ones. And my parents, they stopped calling after that. Not because they understood, but because they couldn't control the situation anymore. And control was always the real goal. A few weeks later, I sat alone in my apartment. No noise, no pressure, no expectations. Just peace. And it felt weird at first, because when you've spent your whole life being the strong one, silence feels unfamiliar. But then it hit me. This wasn't loneliness. This was freedom. See, people think walking away from family is dramatic, like it's loud, emotional, explosive. But sometimes it's just a quiet decision, a line in your mind that says, enough. No speeches, no revenge, just done. And the truth? I didn't lose my family that night. I lost the illusion that they were ever mine. And that's what finally set me free. So, if you're listening to this right now and feel like the one always giving, always fixing, always sacrificing, ask yourself one thing. If you stopped today, who would still stand with you? Because real love doesn't demand your destruction, and family doesn't need a contract.